enjoyed participating in all the events that you have. In fact, as I was saying, I was just driving by and then I saw a sign for one of the events, and it's been very fulfilling. It's like this intellectual gourmet of options and ideas that you get to enjoy. Every time I come to HAYVN, I have a conversation with someone that shifts my perspective on something, or there's an activity that engages me in like thinking about what I'm doing. So it's been really great to be part of that, okay? I've been part of co-working spaces for a long time, since the World Trade Center, okay? So I've been in different places. There's really something special about your space. So I'm just really glad that you created that for us. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. I'm Khaitsa Wasiyo, and I started Learn Tech Teach, and I thought, well, you know, since I've been enjoying all the servings from HAYVN, let me do my part, right? Share something. I wasn't sure how it might connect, but I thought, well, you know, this is what I enjoy doing. I do this for people. Let me talk about that. So you might be thinking about, well, how can I create really exciting online courses for employees and customers? Maybe it's not award-winning, maybe it's not Oscar-winning, but it doesn't hurt to aim. And that's what I wanted to ask you. If you've ever had a very memorable, exciting online course, feel free to put that in the chat, okay? Typically that's not the case because we've all been doing these courses and people have different experiences. So it can be difficult, but I'm gonna talk to you about what goes into creating a very relevant and engaging online course. Felicia, the screen is okay? You can see everything? Okay, good, awesome. So I started the company 4 years ago, and we help leaders do amazing work with the knowledge that they have to have the impact that they want to have. And I have clients in New York, in Connecticut, and I just really enjoy doing this kind of work because I've seen too many bad experiences. I'm sure you can think of a few yourself, right? So there's either a lot of text, there's, you know, like this one here, it's just a lot of text, or the worst thing, you're reading text and then you're hearing this automated voice. Has anyone had that? That has happened at times. Or they go the other extreme where it's like a lot of, you know, clashing stuff, you know. But I just wanted to highlight the process a little bit because even though people know, if they do, that when you build a course, you want to go through a process of designing, developing, and delivering it, but a lot goes into the design process. Sometimes people might just say, well, you're an expert at this. Why don't you just create, you know, some content that we can put on our website or put on a system that people can access. And that person is by themselves trying to figure out how to organize the course, what to put in it, how to set it up in a way that actually achieves the goals that you want to achieve. And that can be a good situation. In other cases, you might have a situation where it's not even an expert creating the course. So you miss out on that real knowledge, the inside jokes on what needs to be done when you're designing. So we go through a process that actually helps you to include and address the things that you need to address for the course that you're wanting, okay? And then when we develop it, we use experts to support you. We have the experts in the field you're working with, we connect with them or we hire them, or an expert usually comes to us and says, look, we have this content, we want to put it together in a way that makes sense. And so we help them do that. But then once you have the content organized a certain way, how do you develop it? How do you really make it interactive and engaging? The ed tech world is so confusing. There's like thousands of companies. And having worked with teachers and businesses, it's just daunting trying to figure out what process to follow, which tools to use. So we work with you to kind of help you go through what makes sense so that you can deliver and have the results that you want, okay? So I'll come back to the slide in a moment with a few more details, but I just wanted to say that everyone may talk about this, but there are certain nuances and approaches that you want to take to really have that engaging and exciting course that produces the impact, right? The changes in behavior for your employees or your customers. So, so that's what I do. And I've had amazing experiences, have impacts in different areas, but typically when you don't do it right, you don't have the right expert, you have a lot of content, it's confusing, the instructions don't make sense. and there's little interaction, right? You're just reading and watching videos. There is no scenarios, no interactive activities, nothing that has you think, okay, now I have this knowledge, how do I apply it? Where do I use it, okay? And so all this can become very costly for the company, not just in the time of the person, right? Taking the time to learn. And if they're forced to learn, to go through this long program that is boring, it just can be very frustrating. So I'm just committed to not having that happen. After all the years I've worked in e-learning and the training, I get joy in always figuring out, well, what do you enjoy when you're doing a workshop, when you're teaching? I talk to companies, when you're dealing with an issue that keeps coming up, what can be done to improve performance? And we come up with something that actually transforms people's learning and experiences. And so now we're all in this situation where it's like, wow, we're shut down. We're trying to figure out what to do, you know, how do we reopen? We're assessing the impact of this pandemic. And it's like, well, there's an opportunity, having talked to a few of my clients, to think about a way forward, but really paying attention to, okay, well, what new skills, knowledge, and behaviors can I put in place to really have a stable recovery, right? Felicia was just talking about doing, reorganizing the space, and or now there's a lot of people working remotely. And so like what new changes can you put in place? Usually, right, you can just send out an email or send out a presentation saying, this is what we're doing now, this is the new process, and just do it. But other times when you have a certain situation, you really need to check compliance. You need to check that people are actually doing what they need to do. And so having a system or a tool that you can easily update and manage for learning is really important. So that's how you can actually reinforce learning and build better operations, by making sure that the staff have the knowledge to do what they need to do remotely, but in a way that makes sense for what you're doing. I don't want to just keep going. Felicia, were there any questions? Do you see any? Let me just look at the
Yeah, there's someone said something about that they need this for the high
for the Hightown?
For schools, the schools.
Yeah, absolutely. I do work with some of the schools, and it's part of the challenge is we all have to wake up and accept this is what we're dealing with, but there are ways to shift things and provide meaningful experiences for people so that the learning happens and that it's not torturous. So we're all in this phase, and as you're going through the phase, it's really important to say, well, what are the new ways of operating that I'm putting in place? So we're all being forced to assess and say, okay, what's important, what's critical? Now, to get that done, there are people that need to do those things. So what skills and knowledge do they need? And what information can I provide them, or what training can I provide them? So we basically have been working with some companies just to support them around the process for that. Now, there are two ways for doing this. There are many, many free options, right? Free online courses, blogs, podcasts, many learning platforms. I'll just show you a few of them that you can look at. So let me just go ahead and do that. So for the ones that I want to share, there is, let me just find the website that I'm looking for. Okay. Skillshare is very interesting because they have this process that they follow.
You may need to share your screen again.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Let me just do that. Okay. So I had a few things open as usual, which is what Felicia was telling me about. So let me go ahead and share the screen. I am actually excited to show you these tools because you don't have to spend a lot of time and money trying to figure out, okay, I know what I need to do. I have staff, or I need staff, and I want to make sure they know what they need to do for me. There are many resources for having an online course that's custom to you even. So you have Skillshare. There are many free options that they're offering. You have Coursera. I'm sure you've heard of some of these. Coursera, you have Udemy. So all these have resources for free courses that you can sign up for and even be able to track what people are doing and how, what they can do to benefit from these courses. And then LinkedIn as well has resources, learning space. They have blogs and podcasts that you can use. So make sure you go and explore that. And Facebook. So there are many, many resources for you to go and visit. Now, if you don't want that and you just want to come up with something easy to create for yourself, there are course hosting sites that you can use to see what you can develop. So there is Kajabi. You build a course and you just upload it. So you don't need to necessarily work with someone with an instructional design background, have a team, a project manager. Sometimes you don't need all of that. So you can just create a course using one of these course hosting websites. There's Teachable that you can explore, and even Thinkific. So if you just Google it, you'll see some good options out there. These are just 3 that I've worked with myself. And then some organizations go higher in terms of using learning management systems like Moodle, Blackboard, or Docebo, okay? And Canvas as well. So that's just an example of some of the tools out there that can help you to create really good, good experiences for people, okay? And then I just see here Jenny Hall saying that she's done courses via DVDs as well. That's right. Linda, which was taken over by LinkedIn, is also a good resource. So all those are resources that you've used. I don't know if you've used others. Anne, have you used any other learning resources, or Maureen?
To create a course, or you mean, or to
yeah, either to create a course or to access a course.
Like Udemy and oh my gosh, there's another free one. I'll think of it when I'm not thinking about it. Sorry.
No, that's okay.
Khan Academy, thank you. Khan Academy,
yeah.
Use it all the time.
Exactly, Khan
Yeah.
Academy, definitely. So that's definitely one that people use a lot. So let me just go ahead and go back to the presentation. So you can access free options, and that'll allow you to develop and do the work that you need to do in a cost-effective way, okay? And sometimes it's important to have that option, so you don't need to rush into committing to a team approach. If you want something more custom, so we would take you through the whole design and development process with experts, instructional designers. These are people who are trained 2 to 3 years, 1 to 2 years, depending on what they focus on, to really help people develop engaging and rigorous programs using learning theories that consider all aspects of learning so that the person has a good experience. The team approach is ideal, so we have a team that helps you do that. And then we work with you where you test drive different tools that make sense for what you're creating to come up and develop a system that is valuable and useful for you. So you get to explore without having to be an expert in it, without having to worry about it. In fact, some people come to us, they're like, here's the content, just make me a click through but engaging interactive course. And here are the assessments, we'll do it. So that works. But some people also want to learn a little more and explore different approaches to that. So we do that for them as well. We have a platform that we take people through so that we can have consistent implementations. Every single person that comes through the program is able to have the knowledge they need to do it, but we do it with them, or if they want us to do it all, we do it. But they have this as a resource to refer to so that after working with us, they are able on their own to create really visually compelling courses and learning experiences for their staff or their customers. And now that we're all going through this pandemic, it's like you have to think about, how can I train my customers to use my products? How can I help them with onboarding? How can I do employee training? So there are many things to think about to ensure compliance, consistency, and success. So that's it. Just a short little overview of different things that I've done and what I'm hearing as I talk to different people. So that's my presentation. Thank you, Felicia, for the opportunity to share that.
Thank you. So you must be very busy right now.
Yeah, I am, and I'm also I'm selective about the companies I work with too, because it depends on who needs this kind of approach and strategy.
So, and then Ann Sullivan asked, do you help with tutorials as well as courses and training?
Yes, yeah, they're sometimes called courses. I mean, a course could be a mini course. It could just be 1 hour, half an hour, right? Or it could be 3 months for a university. So the word course can be a little misleading, but yeah, I've done mini courses, little tutorials, and custom to what people need, because you're dealing with a situation where someone keeps asking the same thing or the same problem keeps coming up. And so we create tools that help people really learn and retain knowledge. I see another question here. Yeah, YouTube is definitely a good resource for free content. So definitely using that as a way to get access to good ideas is also useful. Definitely when you want something custom, that's another approach to look at. Any other questions?
And Ginny asked, this was kind of on my list too. Who are your ideal clients? Are you looking to work with school systems or single?
Oh, okay. So yeah, I've worked with school systems and worked with hundreds of faculty, for example, with City University of New York, where we organized workshops and trained them in developing those in-depth long courses. I've also worked with governments, Department of Health, developed courses because they were dealing with some compliance need to elevate compliance. So we developed interactive scenario-based situations. If you're seeing this, what do you do? Or how would you do it? And why is that other option wrong? So we've worked with governments to do that and small businesses as well. So yeah, clients who are looking for something really compelling and interactive that builds wisdom, meaning that it's someone who, you want a product where if you can't constantly train and explain to someone what you're doing, then you have this product that does it for you. But imbuing in that product is what you care about, what's important to you for your environment. So those are some of the clients that want to invest in these kinds of training programs. But no particular industry, I've worked in all industries. It's really the person who's passionate about creating a product that really transfers changes, right? Not just information, but people want to see a change in your behavior, and they want to see that you understand why this implementation is needed.
So I think also to add on, I mean, you must have a certain target market because you said you're also very selective. Like it probably would be maybe not a small business that's trying to do something, or would it be something like that? Or
I have worked with small businesses. One of my clients right now has a contract with the government to develop certain courses, but she doesn't have an instructional design team. So we partnered with her to help her do that. So it really depends. It's more the person who's really interested in getting this done. Initially, yes, it was New York and Connecticut because I like to do things face to face. But now I'm open to different areas.
okay, and then Holly was asking, could you create a to-do manual for a process?
Yeah, sometimes companies do want that. Yeah. So for example, one of the clients was talking about how to do evaluations in a childcare situation, early childhood interventions. There's a certain process they need to follow. And if they don't, it causes cost issues. People don't get paid. The child doesn't get all the care. So it has real implementation issues that can come back and legally affect the organization. So we can take a basic boring manual and turn it into something that tells people what to do and in what order and why. And just to touch on that, people come to me with different, like they might have all the content spelled out, or they just might have a sense of what changes they want to make and an idea of where the content is. So you don't have to have everything all spelled out. We start with people who sometimes they know what they need to do and they have it ready in a PowerPoint or a Word document. And other times we actually need to help them create the content. So we do that too.
Do you have graphic designers on your team? Like you were saying some of your team is here today.
Yeah.
What does your team look like?
Yeah, so we do have experts who come to join the team to develop the multimedia unique to what the product is. So we have multimedia people, we have video people that I've partnered with that join the team. So it's really important to me because that's one way to engage. So that's definitely part of the process. So you have the expert with their content, you have the instructional designer, someone with my background, and I have another person who does that as well, who's able to assess and say, given the goals you have for learning and performing, well, this content, is it a match for what you want to do? And then once we've designed it and spelled it out, we would work with another team to develop it. So you would have a tech person, multimedia people to help you really capture the transformation that's needed in the content so that people have a good learning experience. And that's the ultimate goal. And that there are assessments involved, because sometimes people just do content without checking, has this person really learned it? And it's not easy to just come up with assessments by yourself if you don't have an expert working with you.
Okay. There's a couple other questions. I don't know if you want to read them. Holly had asked, have you been involved in monetizing a course?
Meaning you can put it on one of the platforms and charge a fee, yes. So this client, for example, who's working with the government has their own product. It's her intellectual property. She's going to be selling it to the government, then she can sell it to different people that want that service.
Okay. And then,
yeah, and when you do take the time to create a good course, you can repackage it and just, sell it to different people.
And then Jenny, I don't know if you want to come off mute.
Yeah, go ahead, come offline and.
Yeah, we're welcome to come off mute because you have questions.
Sorry, I'm chewing.
That's okay.
That was helpful.
I'm glad you had lunch.
I guess my question just is related to what Holly just asked.
Yeah.
Created subscription courses or pay as you go. I ask because I've had a couple clients involved with that.
Yes.
Sometimes it worked out and sometimes it didn't, for whatever reasons. But I just thought I'd ask, so we know in the future, should we come across these needs, we go, oh.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. No, thank you for highlighting that. The whole point of Oscar-winning courses is that they engage people. People are interested. So they subscribe and they pay, right? You take the time to kind of set it up that way. It really does make a difference. I think part of the challenge is that now it seems easy to just go on a website and put a title and some PDFs and videos and call it a course. So it does have an impact on how many people subscribe. But sometimes, depending on how they set it up, it works.
Okay.
But yes, I do. The end goal is that people get high enrollments, high impact, and more and more results for what they're doing.